Hey everyone, good morning and welcome in. Welcome to the King Angel Show. I apologize because I'm doing a book showing today, art picture book showing. We're gonna check out some magazines and whatnot, and I'll give you a little glimpse into the past when it comes to like what I've done in graphic design. I actually found this on my trip to when I was in Dominican Republic a few weeks ago, and I thought I had lost it, but I found it, and I'm actually pretty excited to show you guys. Welcome. Look at him. Oh, what a cutie. I had to put a PNG of myself there because obviously I wanted you guys to see me. Appreciate that big nice forehead that I have. But yeah, I mean, it brought back so many memories that, yeah, just made me overwhelmed, and I'm excited to be able to show you guys. Also, just have a cool morning hangout. Let's chill. We have that music on right now. We'll have it on obviously while we check out these art picture books. I have a few old National Geographic magazines. I don't know about old, I guess oldish at this point, but this is a part one of many. I've done picture book showings before on live streams, and a few of them have been very great, and I'm excited to be able to do it. It's so much fun, and plus it gives opportunity for conversation, and it's a great visual. It's very visually appealing to watch something that you're watching something like art while discussing it with someone, while listening to music. It's the perfect hangout, and especially if it's like morning time where you are. It's 9:30 here in Northern California, so that's why I started off with a good morning. But good afternoon if you're in the East Coast. Good evening if you're anywhere else, or a really early good morning depending on where you are on the other side of the world. Welcome in. Again, this is King Angel Show. I'm your host, King Angel, Bay Area live streamer and content creator. Here on the King Angel Show, we focus on, first and foremost, reviews. So we review movie trailers, music videos. We review true crime cases. We review mythology stories, and within that same review, we discuss and we react to the information that's either me reading, or we're watching a video, or we were going down a rabbit hole and kind of reading about things and investigating and digging deeper into topics, because that's the greatest thing. Again, there's just so many interesting topics out there that we can just pick and choose and dive deep into it, and we can learn a thing or two. And if you already know about it, you can give your 2 cents, which is also great as well, which is why you should join that Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. We watch movies, music, album listens, a little bit of everything, and I also want it to be a place of knowledge, that great minds come together that are interested in the same topics, and getting together and talking about it and having discussions and conversations, and going into these deep thoughted conversations where you're just mincing so much information given, and you're just debating it, and obviously everything done with the immense respect that human beings should have towards each other. But it's a beautiful thing when people can come together and converse and have a great talk. That's so awesome, especially if you're breaking bread, bruh. But obviously we can't do that, but the next best thing is hanging out, which is what we do here at the King Angel Show. We learn, we react, we obviously review, which is the first thing, and we discuss. The world is filled with interesting topics. Life is interesting in and of itself, so always remember that. And there's always something happening that requires conversation about it. Again, you can join that Discord if you want to further support me. $2 a month, Patreon. There's a whole bunch of benefits that you get with it. As always, I appreciate you being here. Support me over on Patreon. It would mean the world to me if you like what I do. I want to keep the channel as much of a variety as possible, but that falls within the parameters of, we're reviewing things, we're reacting to it, and we're discussing it. Right? Those are my three main things, and that broadens so much because there's so much to pick and choose that you can review and react to that it never gets boring. So that's the whole point. I never want this to get stale or uninteresting or something that bores. Like, I want to be a beacon of entertainment and fun and a great hangout spot for you, and obviously grow this community, because that's like the most important thing for me. Like, I want to be able to grow this community and just again have those conversations. I'm so into talking. It's really important. It's what brings people together. All right, hold on. I'm opening up chat. Sorry about that. Give me one quick sec. Almost there. Sorry. Just a sec. Wow, I wonder why it's going so... I feel like it's hiccuping a little bit. Interesting. Well, I hope you can hear me correctly. I don't know why it's doing that. The video should be going normal, like the background video, but YouTube's chopping it up a little bit, and I don't know why. Let's see, maybe I have something open that's... Hope this helps. Kind of seems like it did, because it lowered the percentage of the CPU usage on OBS. Cool. Yeah, I think that should have helped. Well, like I said before, welcome in. We are going to be checking out some art picture books. We're going to check out some... it's funny, books that I my wife and I purchased a long time ago. I think they're hilarious. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. One of them is called Artists and Their Cats. It's, oh my god, I'm a huge cat fan. I mean, if you know me, you might as well just call me Cat Man, because I wish I had a huge house where I could have many kitty cats. I'm way more of a cat person than I am of a dog person. Shout out to you dog people out there. You guys are wonderful. But I love cats. That's my jam right there. Whoa. Sorry, trying to put this chair down. You can find me all across social media. You guys already know that. Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. You can use your Amazon Prime here on Twitch. That would help me out immensely. Also, like I mentioned before, Patreon is the best way to join the King Angel Show community. I'm trying to grow a community of like-minded individuals that are interested in topics that I cover here on the show, that like true crime, mythology, history, music, movies, culture. You guys exist. You guys exist, because if I exist and I like all those topics, I'm I'm convinced that there are others just like me that are interested, and I will find you, and we will be friends, and we will build a community that attracts other like-minded individuals that are interested in those same topics, because they're pretty cool. Like I don't know. If you're out there and you're seeing this, hello. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the other screen. We'll just start. I started a little bit later. I apologize again. I was supposed to have started at 9 a.m. as normal, but I was supposed to have a Logitech. It's supposed to be 4K, right? And ever since I bought it, I started streaming with it. That's like when I started last year, and it was. I knew there was something because it just never focused correctly, and as much as I tried, and it's not the actual camera, so you know I did my research on it, and it just turns out that the camera just isn't that good. Mind you, I mean, it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money, but anyway, like, you're advertising something that's supposed to be 4K, and it looks like if you've ever used a Mac, back in the day, the webcams, the cameras that used to come with the laptops were doggy shit. Like, it was horrible, and it was the worst quality possible, and this camera is exactly that. And it doesn't matter what I do. I've downloaded the hub, I've downloaded the whole thing, and it's trash. I'm glad I'm lucky and glad that I'm able to use my iPhone. So whenever you do see me live or my videos or whatever, I record them with my iPhone. But this is insane. Like, it's supposed to be like a renowned company and whatnot, and it just never worked for me. It's like I tried to have it settled last night to be able to start today at 9 a.m. and when I did, it just looked like it. Bruh, it was horrible, and I even tried with green screen and everything, and it was a disaster. So whatever. I apologize. You're not gonna be able to see me physically. You'll see my hands, I guess, because I'm gonna be turning the pages, but I'll switch over to the other screen. Let me know in chat which one of these you guys are interested in watching first. If not, I'll just start with the one that I want. I have a few options. What I can do is maybe put them sideways like this. And maybe you guys can read it. Let me see. I might just hold it like sideways like this, because I'm not going to move the camera from where it is. Cool. Okay, I think that should be good. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the other screen, and what I'll do is I'll show you what the options. If not, we'll just start with the first two on top, because they're pretty funny. It's a mix of an actual picture book, and two of them are art picture books. So it's like artists. All right, so I'll switch over. Let's see. Hopefully you can kind of see. Sorry, there. That way, you can also see who made them and whatnot. So we'll start with these two, because these two are super interesting. Then I'll show you guys. Well, you know what? I'll probably just start the video showing you guys what I did. I'm actually pretty anxious to show you. This is, wow, taking it back in the day. So these are the artists. I might do, I don't know, I'll do a Eeny Miny Mo. Or maybe I'll do Érte, because I have been doing a lot of graphic design lately, and since I've been working on my merch line and whatnot, I think I might just do this one, but whatever. We'll start with the first two on top, which are artists and their cats, and awkward family photos. Move this to the side here. First off, take a blast to the past. Yeah, you'll see a little shadow. I apologize. That's Mom. And let me know in chat if everything is good with audio. If you guys can hear me correctly. Can you guys hear the music in the back? Just give me a quick thumbs up, or a yes in chat. Oh, that's that paint that's chipping off. This is great. That's crazy because I remember getting this table, just walking with my wife one day in San Francisco, and they had that table on sale in some place that has like antiques and whatnot. It's actually a piano bench, but it serves many purposes. And the color that it actually has is pretty nice too. So, like I said, we'll start off with just one is the first one that I'll show. Here's the thing. It's a art project that I had back when I was in college. Mind you, I left college in 2010. I started in 2004, so I extended my time there. Albeit there was like a year and a half that I barely took any classes. But I thought I had lost this. I thought I had lost all my things, to be quite honest with you. But my mother-in-law actually had these saved up for me. So this is the first one. I did this in college. Again, it was for a basic art project. I'll zoom it in a little bit so that you can get a better look of it. So it's Spanish, but it's music, art. So aperísimo means pretty cool, but I just elongated it a lot more. Just use a kind of a brush. Obviously, this was a very long time ago. So, and when I say a very long time ago, I mean like this is probably like it's 2023. Like 15 years ago. I've been dealing with graphic design for a long time. I remember starting once I came out of high school. I actually begged my dad to put me in a graphic design, kind of like an academy or something of sorts, and that was one of the best things I could have ever done. Everything I learned when it comes to like graphic design that I know up until this point, which isn't really much. Obviously, there's a lot of way better graphic designers out there. I have a friend that she's a beast when it comes to graphic design. But mind you, she does this for a living. So, but yeah, this is just things I added it to the back. What is it? Oh, okay. So I combined lyrics. So let's see. Nature has fixed no limits on our hopes. That's Björk. That's Hope from Volta. Let me see. Reason is powerless in the expression of love. I think that might be Bob Marley. And in the end, the love you take is the love you make. That's the Beatles. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. That is Bob Marley. Let's see. The true work of art is but a shadow of the perfection. Huh. Nice. I don't remember where I got that one from. Let's see. Does this one have anything? No. So, again, it's a college project. I did get a pretty good grade though. Yeah, this was in 2006, because I remember this person had just started college. I'm damn sure we humans couldn't survive without them both. John Malkovich. It's a definition of music and art. I took this from, I think I copied and pasted this from somewhere. As you can see, obviously, my love for Bjork has been for a very long time. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. What is my cat doing? Digi, you good? Digi. Yo, my dude is going ham in his litter box. You guys hear him? Like, what the? Well, you probably won't be able to hear him much because of the music, but I can hear him clearly from here. It's having a ball in there. The fuck, dude. All right, so this is Elvis, Bob Marley, Jim Morrison. I remember changing that. I think I have that somewhere. I ended up, again, this is something I did. I ended up working on this pretty hard while. It's crazy. That looks so awesome. So this is basically just, I think it's explaining, oh, this is when I was hugely addicted to roots reggae. Gotcha. Well, I mean, from Dominican Republic, it's a great country. I was supposed to put, advertisement, so this is supposed to be vodka absolute. That's not bad. Not bad. It's supposed to be like a little piece of news. Oh, young me. I don't take drugs, I am drugs. That's Salvador Dali. Well, obviously, it says it on top, but he's the one that says it. Crazy. I know it was pretty short. I was so proud of this. And finding it, well, not finding it. My mother-in-law had it saved for me. What a saint. Because, yeah, this brings back so many great memories. Okay. Cool. So, that was just a little magazine I had worked on when I was a kid. But when I was in school. But the next one I'm going to show is an actual magazine that was published with a free newspaper that is distributed in our country, that Dominican Republic, that everyone gets at their house. So everyone got a copy of this. Mind you, I was in college, but I was already at the basically the last leg of me being there, and I was working at an ad agency, and I was only there for 1 month. But the person that was supposed to be the director of the place, of the ad agency, the graphic designer who used to work there ended up leaving. Fine. So I remember applying for the job and whatnot. I was young. Like, I was, again, still in school, so it was a win-win situation. She was going to be able to pay someone cheap, and I was going to be able to gain the experience, which is basically something that a lot of people in Dominican Republic, like, that's, well, you can apply that anywhere. You need the experience to be able to get better jobs. So I thought that was finally going to be my ticket into working at an official ad agency, you know, like working with like graphic design and whatnot. So we had this project, and this lady, she tells me that she needs it done in a certain way. Mind you, I worked with the actual director. So everything she told me, that's what I did. I followed her word to the T. And albeit the end result, graphic design wise, was very well done, but what the idea she had in her head sucked. And of course, it was a lot easier to just fire the newer person, and you could just blame him. In this case, it was me. Or if she would have been a lot more of a professional, I guess at this point, if you want to call it that, it should have been a lot more. Have a lot more leadership in her, being that she was the director and owner of the actual ad agency. She would have told the client that it was her fault. She was the one that told me what to do, but it was easier for her to just fucking fire me. So that's what she did. But before she did that, I remember going to school. I remember it being published, and it was that was the day. This and that. Everyone was getting it together with their newspaper, and I remember walking. I parked my car and I was going to college that day, but no one knew that I was the one that did it. So I was just walking around, seeing people's reactions to it, and again, I was so proud, and I am still proud of it. Like, why not? I worked really hard under the guise of this director was the leader, and she was the one that was telling me what to do. I even remember telling this person, like, some of the things that she made me do there, it didn't make sense or it didn't look right, but she insisted on doing it. And yeah, I was walking to college one day, and I started seeing people, like, people had it in their hands and they were laughing, and it was so fucking horrible because everyone was criticizing it. Everyone, dude, I saw it on the floor. People ripped it. It was so weird. Like, I felt like I was in the scene of a movie for some strange reason. People were ripping the magazine, and I never told anyone that was me. Very few people know, but it's still something I'm very proud of, because why not? You have to be proud of the things that you do. And even though it sucked, I can't believe that this copy exists. And I don't know, this might well be the only copy that exists, and it's fucking proud of it. She's not gonna take that away from me. People are not gonna take it away from me because I worked really hard on it. But this is it. So the client was Huggies. Let's see, I think I could put it like that. Can see it a little better. Let me see. Let me know, guys, if you can see it properly. If it's if the camera is angled correctly. But yeah. Oh, let's see, I'll put it here, kind of in the middle here. So it's your baby. Well, I'd say tu bebé a la moda would be like your baby in fashion, or I guess, I don't know. I don't know what the translation would be. I remember this. I worked so hard on this. Just taking that out of the image where it was and putting it there was pretty hard enough as it is. Mind you, this was 2006. No, it can't be 2000. No, that magazine was 2006. This was 2008. Yeah, I don't think it has the date on it. So yeah, this was 2008. So this was, what is it, 15 years ago. 15. So I thought it was a little more, but yeah, 15 years ago. So just imagine 15 years ago doing this shit on Photoshop and whatnot. It's come a long way from that point. But yeah, again, client was Huggies, and it was showing off this event that they had at I guess it's a supermarket or something. They were trying to promote this new type of like something that Huggies had, like a product and whatnot. This was a letter that the general manager of Kimberly-Clark of Dominican Republic sent, and I had to end up putting here. So let's see. Este es editorial. Alguien me preguntaba en una oportunidad qué es una marca grande, esperando que me limitara a hablar solamente de ingresos. Sin embargo, mi respuesta fue diferente. Una marca es grande cuando cuenta con un equipo comprometido que transpira sus ideales, que día a día se entrega en cuerpo y alma para llevarla a cada rincón del planeta donde un consumidor pueda necesitarla y disfrutarla. Cuando cuenta con gente apasionada que siente que la marca es parte de sus vidas y que sus éxitos son parte de sus propios éxitos. Again, the distribution of it, this person made me put all the pictures in this way. Mind you, this was 15 years ago. The kid's probably adult already at this point. But she made me put all the pictures just like this. And I told her, don't put that kid there. He looks weird. She insisted on me cutting it. I was like, fuck it. And I ended up putting it there. She blamed me for the whole thing. Mind you, I am still very proud of what I did here. Not everyone gets the opportunity to be able to get have a magazine that they worked on published in a free newspaper that's distributed. I think it is like nationwide at that point. It's all across the Dominican Republic. It's free. It's people's actual source of information there. Crazy. 15 years ago. Everything. All the placings, like everything. She was the one that told me. She told me to put that kid there too. I told her, don't put the damn kid there. It looks weird. Even at that young age, I remember telling her that. Yeah. Still proud of this. Even though it came out the way, even though the reception that I received was odd. People were ripping the damn thing. I'm proud that I was able to do this, and I'm proud that I was able to be part of creating it. People are weird, dude. Why would you? Well, obviously I know why, because it was easier for this person to just blame me than take responsibility for their misdirection and their lack of leadership. But it sucks that I was the one that had to pay for it. That sucks immensely. Alright, well that was a blast from the past. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in chat if you guys liked it. You don't have to like it. Be honest with yourselves. Like, I don't even like it that much. And I was the one that made it. I'm proud of it, but there are, again, elements of it that if I could redo it now, I would definitely do things a lot differently, and I'd probably stand up for myself too. Because I should have said something to that lady. If I would have... Sometimes I kind of wish I could go back into the past to certain situations where I could say something different. That would be one of them, because I would have definitely stood up for myself. I would have still taken the L of getting fired, because whatever, that's just a private business and want to do whatever the fuck you want. Having me there is not mandatory. But amongst those things, I would have defended myself a little more and kind of told her that it was her fault and that she had to do a better job at leading, because she sucked at it. Alright. Again, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm glad I enjoyed it, because I fucking enjoyed it a lot. Sometimes looking at things from the past can cause mixed reactions, but I'm proud of myself. Next one we're going to check out is artists and their cats. This one's pretty interesting. You can actually Google these images. A lot of them are on like Google. But it's still pretty interesting because nothing warms the heart more than seeing people with their cats. Especially if they're like people that you wouldn't think they would have that love for cats. So this one's called, like I said, Artists and Their Cats. don't remember where I bought this. I think I bought this at Urban Outfitters a long time ago, when I used to work in San Francisco. But if you don't know, that's Salvador Dali. If you are a Patreon member, you get access to that episode where I showed off. It's an art picture book showing, and the episode was of Salvador Dali. So we showed the whole art picture book that shows his previous works and whatnot, and like all his work basically, and it goes kind of deep into his life, and it was so awesome. So definitely become a Patreon member and check that out. Let's move on to this one. Like I said, Artists and Their Cats. This is by Alison Nastasi. So here are some examples of people that we're going to be seeing. Pablo Picasso, Frida Kahlo, Andy Warhol, Patti Smith, Georgia O'Keeffe. Wait. Behind every great artist is a great cat, brah. You are exactly correct. Artists and Their Cats. I hope you guys can see it well. Let me adjust it. Fortunately, you will have to see my fingers because the book is a little bit small, so I have to kind of hold it. So, for Griffin and Sasha, the greatest cats an artist can ever hope for. Dude. Ah, it's a lot of people. Okay, so let's see what the introduction says. It says, every artist needs a muse, and every cat needs a human to rule over. That sounds about accurate. The universe could potentially implode if these fundamental laws were broken, which may explain why creative personalities throughout history have kept cats as companions. When considering the great artists of our time, or their artistic temperament in general, labels like nonconformist, aloof, and mysterious are often applied. The cliches are worthy of much eye-rolling, but in the case of humankind's kittenly companions, the statements ring true. Dude. Kittenly companions? I love that. One of the animal kingdom's most independent species. I don't know. I feel like that's a myth that's been attributed to cats because they roam around and, they're outdoors and whatnot, but in all honesty, especially with my experience with a cat, it kind of seems like, well, I guess it's more indoor cats, but they become extremely dependent and reliant on human beings. It's crazy. Like, my cat has a severe separation anxiety, and yeah, when we traveled the last time, like I had to get like a babysitter for him because we traveled once, and it was like for 3 days, and the cat, it was just a complete disaster. Let's just say we had to change the mattress. That's how far it went. Shout out to my kitty cat. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they are as independent as a lot of people give them that credit for, because cats rely a lot on humans, especially like indoor cats. But I guess it makes sense. The cat is essentially a solitary creature, possessing deeply ingrained territorial and predatory traits. Patreon members also have access to a episode that we did that it's exclusively for cats, and that's just the first one. We're going to do more of those episodes, but we explained history, where cats originated, why they're so revered. It was such an interesting episode, and the engagement there was crazy. Very memorable. Okay, so and who doesn't love a cat? Come on. So despite being domesticated for thousands of years, the genetic difference between a house cat and its predecessor, the African wildcat, is whisker thin. Dear Kitty may not stalk the Hoggar Mountains in search of prey anymore, but living room furniture makes a fine surrogate for the rocky Algerian regions prowled by its ancestors. Unlike their mortal enemy, the dog, a social pack animal that loves nothing more than pleasing humans and maintains a 9-to-5 schedule, felines have minimal tolerance for human agendas,
and the personality quirks we seek to impose upon them. Nighttime is a cat's life. There are toy mice to maul, rolls of toilet paper to reap, and invisible foes to battle in the dark, while their human owners, quote unquote, lie asleep or awake, dreading the inevitable clamor of their alarm clocks. It should come as no surprise then that artists have always found a great affinity for cats. What other creature would join them during intense bouts of late-night studied toil and be content to simply coexist? Numerous studies have illustrated that the behavioral characteristics of different animals, particularly dogs and cats, appeal to people with comparable personalities. Inevitably, many artists buck notions of a stereotypical temperament, but researchers have long speculated that creative individuals share common attributes, which mirror those of cats. In a 2010 study by the Department of Psychology at the University of Texas at Austin, researchers polled more than 4,000 volunteers who self-identified as cat or dog people, and included participants who stated they were both or neither, conducting an assessment using the Big Five model of personality traits. So you're measuring openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. They include that the cat people were more neurotic, less agreeable, and more introverted than their canine fancying counterparts, but also displayed more openness. Sounds like a feline, you know? Sounds exactly like a feline. So listen to this. Professor of psychology, Holly, Mahali, the founder and co-director of the Quality of Life Research Center in Claremont, California forever, has spent more than 30 years studying the lifestyles and habits of creative people. A summary of the psychologist's work excerpted from the book Creativity, the Work and Lives of 91 Eminent People in Psychology Today, notes that it's not unusual for artists to plow through periods of intense work followed by spells of ideal self-reflection. Assuming such polarized lifestyles, artists can channel energies and organize their workflow in unconventional ways. It's no different with cats. Domestic felines don't need to expend energy hunting for food. We happily serve them feasts on a platter. Defend themselves against predators, feisty siblings don't count, and migrate for water and shelter, or the modern equivalent, your bed, laptop, that book you're trying to read, your piles of clothes, or perhaps your head. Yes, all of the above. Nonetheless, the essential genetics haven't changed. Cats in the wild sleep up to 20 hours per day, and what is usually perceived as a symptomatic of lazy catitis in domestic kitties, who average anywhere from 12 to 20 hours of sleep per day, is actually an instinctive calling. Clearly, the loners and rebels, and possibly the habitual nappers of the human and animal worlds are soulmates. The enigmatic allure of cats has fascinated artists for centuries, notably in ancient cultures, where artisans transformed cats into omnipotent idols. Shout out to the Egyptians. When civilization embraced and eventually tamed the creatures, adopting them as pets, cats also became honored as religious and folkloric symbols, woven into myth. Artifacts offer countless examples of the reverence in which the beasts were held, suggesting that spoiled cat brats are hardly a new phenomenon. Dude, my cat is so spoiled. It's crazy. The life of a cat, dude. Like, he's literally outside right now, sitting on a chair, just taking some sun. That's all he's doing. What a life. Oh, what a life. The life of a cat. He drinks water, and he goes back, and then at some point, he'll ask for snuggles, and then after a few minutes of some snuggle time, he just gets up and goes back to where he was, and that's it. And if I try to go pet him, he just moves. And it's crazy how Dude, a cat is the only thing that'll reject you in that manner, and you'll just fucking fall in love with it even more. Like, my cat's rejection just makes me wanna do something so that he can just love me more. That is insane. No wonder cats have that weird look when you bother them that much. Let's see, where am I? See, cats were deeply revered in ancient Egypt, where they became symbolic figureheads of their own religious sect, embodied in the goddess figure of Bastet. Devotees numbering in the hundreds of thousands would make an annual pilgrimage to Bubastis, home of the cat cult. Ooh, I would love to go there. Upon the cherished companion's demise, cats were mourned and mummified similarly to humans. And while Egypt's cat worship tends to dominate the history books, felines had a presence in other Mediterranean cultures throughout the ages. A temple dedicated to Bastet, discovered in Alexandria in 2010 and built by Queen Berenice II, wife of King Ptolemy III Euergetes, the third ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt, suggests an admiration for felines among the ancient Greeks. The Romans respected the cat's sense of independence and brought the creatures to the battlefield, using their rodent hunting proclivities to keep food supplies and leather goods free from rats. Cats were considered emissaries of the goddess Liberty, often depicted with felines curled at her feet. Interesting, I've never heard about that. According to the witchcraft lore compiled in the 19th century book, Érte, or the Gospel of the Witches, another Roman deity, Diana. Ooh, crazy, because Diana is associated to Artemis, who is associated to the zodiac sign Cancer. Cool. Where is it? Who ruled the moon and is associated with wild animals, was said to have seduced the god of light, Lucifer, by transforming herself into a cat in order to slip into his bedroom at night. Well, what do you know? Huh. Relics from these societies demonstrated an infatuation with cats aesthetically, depicted as a woman with the head of a cat, and sometimes in full feline form. Egyptian artisans fashioned amulets of the goddess Bastet, often with kittens, which were worn as fertility charms by women hoping to conceive. Sculptors created Bastet idols for ritual functions and protection. Tomb paintings and bas-reliefs frequently depicted cats ushering their owners into the underworld. Larger cat breeds, such as lions, figured more prominently on Greek vases, funerary stelae, and pottery. Species like the cheetah were figuratively, tongue twister, used by artists to express status, wealth, and power. The trappings of patrons who earned or could simply afford their spots. It seems likely that Roman soldiers identified with the cat's predatory skills and cunning nature. Felines were depicted on shields and flags, while cat carvings adorned Roman ships. Also commonly found on mosaics and other art objects from the ancient period, it's clear that our appreciation of cats and the creation of artifacts to celebrate them stretches back to the dawn of civilization. The enduring cult of the cat eventually fell into decline. I think not. The creatures were okay. Alright. I take that back. The creatures were demonized during the Middle Ages due to a sullying association with witchcraft and paganism. Quick note there, if you didn't know, to this day there still exists that superstition that black cats are they're not lucky and whatnot, and they bring like bad luck to people and shit, and people still up until this to this day they don't adopt black cats like that. They're the least adopted cats, they are the least photographed cats, and it's all because of that stigma that still exists when it comes to them. And being a person that has a black cat, I mean my cat's a tuxedo cat, but nonetheless his main color is black. I don't understand where that comes from. It's just superstition and the immense hate towards women that has existed for a very long time perpetuates this whole superstition that comes with black cats, and I just absolutely hate it. My cat's such a loving cat. Mind you, he's has his moments and whatnot, but he's such a loving cat, and I don't understand why they're viewed in that manner. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more because he's obviously it's a smaller book, and I want you guys to be able to appreciate the pictures. You'll see me zoom in and out. Trying to pick one that maybe you guys. I think that should be good. It won't let me zoom in a lot more unless I do like 3 times, like 3x, and I don't want to go in that. But maybe. You can bring it. We can see it like this. Oh no. Nah. Fuck it. I'll keep it like that. Okay, so this is Agnes Varda. So I'll appreciate the kitty cat. And what I can do is, I should do the kitty cat like that. Oh, look at Agnes Varda is a director. Okay, cats, especially her own, have always featured prominently in Varda's visual art and movies as personal symbols and witnesses. The mother of French New Wave even used an illustration of Gogo for the logo of her production company, Cine Tamaris. When Gogo passed away, Varda honored her with a video installation created in 2006. Oh, Le Tombeau de Gogo. That's just, which means it's Gogo's grave. Oh, it's Gogo. A weird name for a cat, but hey, whatever works. Alright, Ai Weiwei, controversial contemporary artist Ai Weiwei's studio in Beijing, which he designed himself, is home to more than 40 cats. That's life right there. My man knows exactly what he's doing. The cats and dogs in my home enjoy a high status. They seem more like the lords of the manor than I do. The poses they strike in the courtyard often inspire more joy in me than the house itself. Their self-important positions seem to be saying, this is my territory, and that makes me happy. However, I've never designed a special place for them. I can't think like an animal, which is part of the reason why I respect them. It's impossible for me to enter their realm. All I can do is open the entire home to them, observe, and at last discover that they actually like it here or there. They're impossible to predict. We can all see Ai Weiwei's little kitty cat there. What's the kitty cat's name? No, it doesn't say kitty cat's name. Albert Dubois, French illustrator who's known for his satirical cartoons, many of which are cat-themed and based on the humorous exploits of his own pets, including one of his favorites named Kiko. The Dubois kitties are depicted as cheeky, playful, and utterly feline. His fine line drawings capture the sophistication cats exude, even when they're being naughty. Dude, I don't think... Look at the little picture. Look at him. There's a kitty cat right there. Oh, look at the other kitty cat. And it's kitten. Look at him. Albert knows what's up. He understood the cat Simon. Amelia Van Buren. I early recognized her as a very capable person. Thomas Akins, American painter and instructor at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, wrote of his student Amelia Van Buren in 1886. Holy cannoli. She had a temperament sensitive to color and form, was grave, earnest, thoughtful, and industrious. She soon surpassed her fellows, and I marked her as one I ought to help in every way. Van Buren arrived at the prestigious institution having already exhibited her work throughout Detroit. Aikens subsequently tutored her, employing, it's rumored, some rather unorthodox methods. which may have involved disrobing during class for a brief anatomy lesson. He later asked her to model for one of his most accomplished works, Miss Amelia Van Buren. Van Buren opened a studio and an art gallery in New Jersey after graduation and eventually turned to photography, specializing in portraits. Akins surrounded himself with a menagerie of pets, including cats, which could explain the presence of the photogenic feline in this image of Van Buren, but he also studied them for anatomy purposes. Wow, 1886. Holy cannoli. Look at that. That's insane. Andy Warhol. Pop art icon. Was a collector of objects, furniture, jewelry, fine art, and quiche items such as cookie jars. Ideas, many detailed in his 1975 book, The Philosophy of Andy Warhol, From A to B and Back Again, and muses who thronged to his New York City studio, The Factory. He was also crazy about cats. Warhol's passion for animals was something he shared with his mother, Julia. At one time, the artist owned as many as 25 cats in his Upper East Side townhouse. Warhol's nephew, the author and illustrator James Warhola, Andy dropped the A from his surname early in his career, told the story of those feline friends in his book, Uncle Andy's Cats. The tale reveals that Sunset Boulevard actress Gloria Swanson gave Andy a Siamese cat named Hester. She was paired with a male cat named Sam. They had several litters of kittens, which were all named Sam. The cats became the eponymous stars of Warhol's 1954 self-published 25 cats named Sam and One Blue Pussy. No, that's not a typo in the title. Warhol's mom rendered the calligraphy for this collection of colorful, whimsical lithographs and accidentally left the D off named. Warhol was charmed by the error and kept it. Julia collaborated with her famous son on a second book about cats in 1957, Holy Cats, featuring, you guessed it, cats and angels. Andy's feline creations reveal a much more personal side of the artist than all the Brillo boxes in the world. That's cool. That was a great story. Arthur Rackham. See Arthur there. You can see the kitty cat right there. The illustrated cats of Arthur Rackham are vivacious creations, effusive with personality and mystique. One celebrated example, the grinning image of the artist's Cheshire cat from his Alice's Adventures in Wonderland series, is universally beloved. Oh my goodness, there's another kitty cat right there. I didn't even notice him. Like his graceful artworks, Rackham cuts a fine figure of Edwardian era elegance, but he was never so dapper that he denied a few feline friends the opportunity to perch on his shoulder. Balthus, known for his provocative paintings of nubile girls. French painter Balthus, Balthasar Klosowski, often included cats in his artworks. The enigmatic, knowing familiars add further tension to his erotically charged images. When the artist was only 11 years old, he befriended a stray cat named Mitsu, but their tender relationship ended with when the feline disappeared. Young Balthus created a series of 40 pen and ink drawings detailing their adventures and his devastation, which enchanted his mother's lover, the poet Rainier Maria Rilke, who gave the young artist his nom de guerre, I guess war name. Rilke arranged for their publication in a book named after the cat and even wrote the preface. Balthus's early drawings reveal an ability, expressiveness, and emotionality wise beyond his years. After his debut exhibition in Paris, cats became the center of Balthus's work again. His 1935 self-portrait, The King of Cats, shows the slender artist towering over an affectionate kitty that appears at once dazed and steely-eyed. Another reflexive study, The 1949 painting, The Cat a la Mediterranean, transforms the artist into a sinister cat preparing to feast on a plate of fish. Balthus welcomed many cats to his Rosenier chalet until his death in 2001. Yes! Yes! Brian Eno, dude, yes! So, making sure that's focused correctly for you guys. Let me see. So, Brian Eno, perhaps best known for his lush ambient soundscapes. If you don't know Brian Eno, I highly recommend you check out his music. Just go Spotify or whatever streaming services you use. You can use just YouTube him as well. It's worth every single minute that you listen to his work. He's just so good. He's worked with so many great people, and he's provided just great ideas to other people's productions as well. He's amazing. Highly recommend Brian Eno if you don't know him. Pioneering English musician Brian Eno began his creative career as a painter, studying the Radical Ground course, an experimental art program led by acclaimed professor Roy Ascott at Ipswich Civic College early in life. Eno's artistic abilities were later evidenced by his innovative light and sound installations, one of which illuminated the Sydney Opera House. I mean, if you don't know the Sydney Opera House, it's huge. That's a really big feat right there. Uniting his passions, Eno created a visual and sonic app for the iPad called Scape that allows users to experiment with textures of sound and shape. He also designed a healing light and sound installation for hospitals. The artist's meditative sensibilities seem to extend to his love for cats as well, as this 1974 photo illustrates. Eno cat pics are an internet favorite, and one of the artist's very photogenic kitties can be found in the 2011 film The British Guide to Showing Off, which documents the celebrated anarchic alternative Miss World costume pageant organized by artist Andrew Logan. There you go. Oh, look at that little kitty. Okay. Claude Cahun, born Lucy Schwab. Claude Cahun was the niece of distinguished symbolist writer Marcel Schwab. She adopted the androgynous moniker in her 20s, an act that fueled her intimate staged self-portraits, which blurred the lines of gender identity. She arrived in Paris during the 1920s with her lifelong partner and stepsister, Suzanne Malherbe. She was a radical and active figure among the Surrealists, though she rejected all labels, and later became a resistance fighter during the Second World War. This led to the creation of fake documents which disguised the covert missions she undertook, akin to performance art, against the occupying forces in France. These stunts found her and Malherbe arrested and sentenced to death in 1944, but the artists were later released. Cahun, a tremendous cat lover, continued to challenge notions of identity in her work, using the cat as a conduit, as explored in her late 1940s series Le Chemin des Chats, The Way of Cats. My French is horrible. And it's crazy because we actually take French as a second language in Dominican Republic, and it just never really stuck with me, and I beat myself up for it because of it. Should have paid more attention. Next one, we have Diego Giacometti. So, all three of the Giacometti brothers were artists. Alberto, a sculptor and painter, is best known for his attenuated figures that stand at attention. Bruno was a notable architect, and the last of the trio, Diego, was a celebrated sculptor who possessed an affinity for animals. The boys grew up surrounded by the barnyard beasts of their Swiss village near the Italian border. Animals feature as mythological symbols in Diego's work, which of course included cats. Diego shared a studio with Alberto in Paris until the end of their lives. Diego's love of his feline companions even influenced his brother's work. Although most recognized for his depictions of human figures, Alberto created several animal sculptures. I'd seen that cat of Diego's so often coming across the bedroom toward my bed in the morning before I got up that I had it in my mind exactly as it is. Alberto told his biographer, James Lord, "All I had to do was make it. But only the head can even pretend to be a likeness, because I always saw it head on, coming toward my bed." He also described the leaf creature as a ray of light, after watching it navigate objects without ever touching them. Thus, Alberto's elongated bronze sculpture from 1954, The Cat, was born. The Giacometti brothers' respective bodies of work shared remarkable stylistic parallels, but Diego's passion for creatures great and small and his refined technique became a hallmark of the oeuvre. I'm fascinated by cats. Edward Gorey. With a penchant for grim and ghastly characters, Edward Gorey's mischievously macabre illustrations have transported readers to mysterious costume balls, shadowy theater stages, and eccentric Edwardian tea parties. His inimitable pen and ink drawings helped to bring the works of famous authors to life, including Bram Stoker, H.G. Wells, and T.S. Eliot. The animated opening and closing title sequences for the PBS television series Mystery are based on Gorey's artworks, and his popular alphabet book, The Gashly Crumb Tinnies, is equally whimsical and weird. But it's Gorey's drawings of cats, plump, lavishly bewhiskered felines that wore ballet slippers. Gorey religiously attended the New York City Ballet, lounged on stacks of books, one of his great loves, and delighted in a bit of impish fun that continued to enchant fans of all ages. The artist also surrounded himself with cats in his personal life, which seemed to have been as adorably quirky as their owner's art. One was crippled, but loved to perch on his shoulder. Another didn't learn to purr until she was 10 years old, and all of them liked to drape themselves across his drawing board. Gorey's historic house on Cape Cod has been turned into a museum to preserve the legacy of his work, commemorating his devotion to animals and their welfare. Oh, dude. That's so awesome. Edward Weston. He has not one, but two of them right there. Look at them. Two cutie patooties just sitting on his lap. Edward Weston has been called the most influential American photographer of the 20th century, and his diverse subjects include nudes, the California landscape, California Forever, and genre scenes. Weston was also the first photographer to receive the prestigious Guggenheim Fellowship. Later in life, the artist settled into his Carmel Highlands home near the Point Lobos State Reserve and Big Sur coastline. Highly recommend if you're going on vacation. Obviously, California is expensive, but those places that they just mentioned there, Point Lobos, Carmel, Big Sur. Obviously, Big Sur. If you're ever in California, in Northern California, I highly recommend you visit those places. It's definitely worth the time, worth the energy of getting there. It's beautiful, very beautiful. Especially Point Lobos. They have that huge park there. Wow, it's worth the time. Again, highly recommend. So, the property was nicknamed Wildcat Hill due to the number of cats roaming the grounds. Weston's many pets appeared in a 1947 book the artist created with his wife, Therese, called The Cats of Wildcat Hill. Enki Bilal One of France's foremost comic book artists since the 1970s, Enki Bilal, whose surreal stories often incorporate actual historic events, has long been preoccupied with the links between humans and animals. A telepathic alien cat fuels the science fiction world in Bilal's Nicopole trilogy. Dude, cat's like, come on, bruh. Not in front of a camera, dude. Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Erica McDonald. Whoa. 20th century illustrator Erica McDonald had a little help from a curious cat when crafting her creations. Photographer John Gay captured this charming photo of McDonald for a feature in a 1947 edition of Strand magazine about up-and-coming female illustrators. I don't know if you can see. Let's play with the kitty cat. Wow. 1947. You look at that. Florence Henry. During the early 20th century, avant-garde photographer Florence Henry hung out with the futurists in Rome and joined the Parisian artistic elite. Later, she premiered experimental techniques that sometimes found her compared to famous contemporaries, such as Man Ray, Laszlo. Shit, up until this point, I thought the name Laszlo was made up for what we do in the shadows, but it's an actual name. Laszlo Moholy Nagy and Adolf the Mayor. The artist has since been recognized as one of the leading talents of her time. Thankfully, she dotted on a few cats along the way. Frank Stella. The fiercely independent feline seems like an appropriate pet for Frank Stella, minimalist master of 20th century painting. His monumental artworks bear no resemblance to the sovereign beasts, but sometimes slightly reference them, as in the case of his 1984 work on paper. Then came a dog and bit the cat. And then that dog was no mas. Frida Kahlo. Celebrated painter Frida Kahlo maintained an exotic menagerie of pets at her Mexico City home known as the Blue House, La Casa Azul, which included monkeys, a deer, birds, hairless dogs, and cats. Being the mini megalomaniacs that they are, it's no wonder the feline in this photo looks shunned as Kahlo smuggles a monkey. These eclectic muses roamed freely and made appearances in dozens of her paintings as protective symbols. And as you can see, that's the kitty cat right there, and she's holding the monkey. Love this picture. Love this picture. It's so awesome. Cat's offended. It's like, I give you an opportunity to be my staff, and this is what you do to me? I don't care if you're Frida Kahlo. I rule in this house. Georges Malkany, a prolific painter who completed nearly 500 works in his lifetime. Georges Malkany was a deeply private man whose creations were initially shown to an intimate audience of collectors and friends. The lone painter to sign André Breton's 1924 Manifesto of Surrealism, Breton championed the artist's extreme individualism. Malkany eventually made his way in front of the camera for a rare portrait taken by Man Ray, the darling of the Dada and Surrealist set. The solitary cat seems like a kindred spirit befitting the companionship of the quietly rebellious artist. Nice. And dude, just knowing that it was Man Ray that took this picture, it's crazy. Georgia O'Keeffe, hailed as the mother of American modernism. Painter Georgia O'Keeffe was frequently inspired by the rugged mountains and desert surrounding her New Mexico home, which she shared with numerous pets. It was there that she first met John Candelario, a seventh-generation New Mexican and aspiring photographer. O'Keeffe became an early mentor to Candelario, who took her photo on several occasions, including this charming image of the artist with her Siamese cat. She eventually showed his portfolio to her husband, art promoter Alfred Stieglitz, who exhibited his work at the Museum of Modern Art. Candelario later became a master photographer, known for his platinum prints and scenes depicting his native state. Wow, what a great picture. Love it. It's so beautiful. Grandma Moses. The bucolic life of a farm cat sounds like a feline paradise. Look at the little kitty cat. But there are plenty of animals to keep company, open fields to explore, and tasty critters to hunt. A few barn kitties were lucky enough to be immortalized in the renowned folk paintings of Grandma Moses, born Anna Marie Robertson, who continued to work on a farm into her 70s. The paintings depict homely scenes of rural life, which include the many animals that gathered at her agricultural homestead. Open this up a little more because you guys have to see this kitty cat. Dude, is there not more of a genuine picture than this? Look how happy they look. Dude, look at the little kitty. Bro, man, come on. Look at this next one. Gustav Klimt. So Australian symbolist Gustav Klimt's studio was always filled with women and cats. Klimt's sensual, opulent paintings of his elaborately coiffed muses didn't overshadow his love for felines, one of which he simply named Katze, German for cat. One of its models, Frederick Maria Biermonti, even described the artist as animal-like. And here's the little kitty cat right there. Helmut Newton. Photographer and consummate provocateur, Helmut Newton sometimes imbued his fashionable, erotic images with a sardonic, sly sense of humor. The artist's roguish swagger is captured in this portrait with a contented lap cat taken by Australian photographer Athol Smith in 1957. Henry Cartier-Bresson and Martine Frank, the father of photojournalism, who spent more than 3 decades chronicling some of the greatest moments of the 20th century for life. Henry Cartier-Bresson was a deeply private man who rarely allowed himself to be photographed. He was, however, very forthcoming about his love for cats. "I'm an anarchist, yes," he explained in a 2003 interview for Vanity Fair, "because I'm alive. Life is a provocation. I'm against people in power and what that imposes upon them. Anglo-Saxons have to learn what anarchism is. For them, it's violence. A cat knows what anarchy is. Ask a cat. A cat understands. They're against discipline and authority. A dog is trained to obey. Cats can't be. Cats bring on chaos." Wow. Love that. Cartier-Bresson's wife, Martine Frank, was a celebrated photographer in her own right. She captured some of the greatest minds and talents of the 20th century, including philosopher Michel Foucault and the painter Marc Chagall. Frank is also known for his documentary photos of remote communities, her tenure as official photographer for Parisian avant-garde ensemble Théâtre du Soleil, and membership with Magnum Photos, co-founded by Cartier-Bresson. Cartier-Bresson's 1989 portrait of their cat Ulysses, pictured with Frank's striking shadow, shows the artist an anarchic beast in repose. Chun chun chun. That's an awesome picture. I love it. Nice. Henri Matisse. So it seems fitting that the artist who broke the established rules of painting and helped shape the look of modernity had a fondness for the independent calf. Matisse's contemporaries didn't always embrace his audacity with color and simplicity of form, but the artist's work feels very relevant in our world. Just after the turn of the 20th century, Matisse created a series of girl with and women with paintings that not only pushed the boundaries of portraiture and color, but also revealed a very modern sensibility. His feminine figures exude empowering traits, confidence, self-determination, and unpretentiousness. Naturally, a cat took center stage for one of those bold works, Girl with a Black Cat, for which Matisse's daughter, Margaret, posed, her eyes perhaps more feline than the black mass resting in her lap. Matisse kept several cats as pets during his lifetime. The cherished companions joined him on every step of his artistic journey. There was Cosy, a large striped cat, and her sister La Puce, the flea, a sleek black kitty. Manouche was the siblings' mother, a petite white and gray cat. Animals soothed Matisse's soul. The quiet, serious revolutionary seemed to melt when his feline companions were underfoot. Near the end of his life, Matisse's pets accompanied him to his apartment at the Hotel Regina in Nice, a suite formerly used by royalty, where he worked from bed on his designs for the Chapelle du Rosaire, which is the Chapel of the Rosary, in Venice, which he considered his masterpiece. Kitty Cat was guiding that dude's hand. Herbert Tobias. German photographer Herbert Tobias is fondly remembered for his striking black and white portrait of famous personalities, including disco icon and Salvador Dali muse Amanda Lear. In one image, clutching his pet cat to her chest, actor Klaus Kinski and singer-songwriter Nico, the artist discovered the former Warhol superstar when she was only 16 and is credited with giving her the name. Fittingly, for an artist of this monochromatic palette, he owns a magnificent black cat. Art collector Pali Meller Markovich once said that Herbert Tobias was an outsider not fitting in any standard, which made him a fierce feline ally. I remembered it because I remembered Arrested Development, and it just clicked in my head. It's like, oh shit, it's Tobias. That's what it is. Hold on, I'm gonna eat a little bit of peanuts. Hope everyone's doing well. Look at that dude with his little kitty cat on his head. That is an awesome picture right there. I love these peanuts. They're delicious. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. I'm gonna get something to drink real quick. I'll be right back.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, what is happening to this camera? I'm sorry, it's having some weird issues. There's always something. It can never be smooth sailing. There always has to be something. But I hope everyone's having a great day. So far, I appreciate you being here. I'm eating some gummies. Putting some sugar in me. Go ahead. Jeez. Cool, let's move on. Well, I mean, that is a pretty great image of left and right hand side. They're both kitty cats. Okay, so we move on to Hermann Hesse. Hermann Hesse is mostly recognized for his story about a young man on a spiritual journey, Siddhartha. I remember I once met someone with that name. And his semi-autobiographical novel, Steppenwolf. A lesser-known aspect of the German novelist's career is his output as a painter. He didn't pick up a brush until his 40s, but produced a significant body of work. Just as his writings examined the path of self-discovery, Hesse's self-portraits and dream paintings, encouraged by his therapist, guided him through an existential crisis. Hesse's pet cats also offered him solace from his introspective spells. In his many letters, the author often shared stories about the cats cowering the Hesse household, including the what's a fucking weird ass word? Archetypally named lion and tiger. The fuck? Jacques Villon, Marcel Duchamp, and Raymond Duchamp Villon. The Duchamp brothers, Jacques Villon, born Gaston Émile Duchamp, Marcel Duchamp, and Raymond Duchamp Villon were all successful artists with triple the affection for cats. The siblings could often be found communing in the garden of Jacques Villon's studio in Putin, France, with Jacques' dog, Peep, and other assorted Duchampian critters. The trio founded a collective known as the Putin Group or Section d'Or, which is Golden Section, which was a collective of artists associated with Orphic Cubism. It's 2 out of 3 with a kitty cat, but better than nothing. Jacques Cockatoo, or Cocteau. The Observer's notable portrait photographer, Jane Brown, captured a charming image of French artist Jean Cocteau in 1950, accompanied by his beautiful Siamese cat, Madeline. Cocteau was overjoyed with the results and penned a letter to Jane Bown, sharing his and Madeline's gratitude. Rare are they who think of those images they carry. And so I am very grateful to you. All the proofs are magnificent. Madeline is in ecstasy over the Siamese cat. All the household embraces you. Cats often found their way into Cocteau's whimsical drawings. He considered them the visible soul of his home. Eventually, he took his devotion a step further by founding the Cat Friends Club in Paris, which sponsored international cat shows and designing their membership pin, a cartoonish cat head. That's cat love right there. Yes. Jean-Michel Basquiat. I absolutely love this artist. I have such fond respect for him. In 1982, Jean-Michel Basquiat
set to have his portrait taken in the studio of esteemed Harlem Renaissance photographer James Van Der Zee. Basquiat was only 21 years old at the time, but had already captured the attention of the art world after making his mark as a graffiti artist using the tag SAMO, same old shit, and his participation in the 1980s Times Square show. The photographer was in his 90s, but his career was enjoying a late resurgence during that period. The resulting photos from the session, one of which included a Siamese cat belonging to Van Der Zee's wife, Donna, were commissioned by curator and Mad Club co-owner Diego Cortés. Basquiat practically lived at Cortés's nightclub, which became a venue for his band Grey. The images accompanied curator and critic Henry Geldzahler's conversation with the artist in Andy Warhol's interview magazine. So, Geldzahler asks, what do you think of James Van Der Zee? Basquiat. Oh, he was really great. He has a great sense of the good picture. Geldzahler asks, what kind of camera did he use? Basquiat. Old box camera that had a little black lens cap on the front that he'd taken off to make the exposure, then put it back on. Wearing one of his signature suits with paint-splattered pants, the neoromantic image of the sullen, enthroned artist is a subversive twist on the 19th century wave of exotism that pervaded the decorative arts. This emphasized further by the appearance of the sulky cat, also representative of Basquiat's entry into the predominantly white art world, an establishment many would come to accuse of exploiting him as an exotic figure. Van Der Zee's photo shows Basquiat snubbing commercializing institutions, which also mischievously satirizing his own desire for fame, a subject he often considered in his own paintings. According to Donna Van Der Zee, who inspired the photographer's late peak Renaissance, the portrait was Basquiat's favorite personal photo. Basquiat later showed his affection for the famed photographer, who subverted notions of African Americans with his dignified portraits of the Harlem Renaissance in the painting Vanders, so it's VNDRZ. Yeah. Long live Jean-Michel Basquiat. Jim Henson. Oh wow. Huh. Wow, that is so interesting. I've never seen such a young picture of Jim Henson before. Muppets Maestro. Oh, sorry, I moved the camera a little bit there. I apologize. Muppets Maestro Jim Henson had a talent for creating compelling characters loved by children of all ages. The soft-spoken artist had one foot in the showbiz world and the other in the realm of the counterculture. He studied painting in Europe and debuted his surreal, experimental 1965 short film, Timepiece, at the Museum of Modern Art. Henson's philosophy of love, peace, and tolerance was aligned with the spirit of the 1960s, and the gentle creator also opened his heart to the animal kingdom, as evidenced by his wonderful puppets and the number of pets in his home. George Washington, Henson's Siamese kitty, joined the artist when he married fellow puppeteer Jane Niebel, who brought her own cat, Beauty, into the marriage. George kept Henson company at the Bethesda, Maryland home studio while he dreamt up new concepts for his clever characters. Jane created a series of drawings of George and one of George with Jim during the early days of their marriage. At one point, the Henson clan had 8 cats, honored in a painting by then teenage daughter Lisa Henson, including Snowy, short for the adorable Snowy Feet, Prissy, Woody, named after director Woody Allen, Dorothy, and Kitty. And they named one of their kitties Kitty. That's so sweet. But look at them. It's a really nice picture. John Cage. Cats have come to symbolize individualism, so who better to call a feline a friend than an artist with one of the quirkiest minds of the 20th century? John Cage's penchant for randomness seemed to fuel his personal interest. He was an amateur mycologist, An avid chess player, Marcel Duchamp taught him the game, and he often cast the I Ching to determine the direction of his home. Cage began his artistic career as a painter, but migrated to music, becoming one of the most influential composers of all time. He did, however, continue creating works on paper and studied printmaking, often using the same chance methods that he applied to his music. Cage was also deeply devoted to the feline members of his household, shared with partner, collaborator, and fellow cat lover, the avant-garde dancer choreographer Merce Cunningham. Skocum was a petite, demure black cat who used up more than a few of her 9 lives during her time. She once made a meal out of a near-deadly strand of dental floss and eventually departed Cage's home after being accidentally set loose by a handyman. Losa, a black, scruffy former stray, was Skocum's opposite and simply adored being the center of attention. Whenever the cameras were present, there was Losa ready to pounce and play, often biting John and Mercy's ankles. Losa's favorite game involved a cardboard box, which an amused Cage would place over the cat and watch him navigate the loft like a strange cartoon character. It earned the boisterous feline the nickname Losa Rinpoche Taxicab. According to Laura Kuhn, executive director of the John Cage Trust, Losa lived to a ripe old age, outliving Cage even, proving that you just can't keep a good cat down. Oh, I wonder how long that cat lived for. Oh, that's a great picture. And you can look at the cat, dude. How rude, dude. Just occupying all the space. Like, bro, get off the table. Like, we get it. You don't have to stretch over the whole thing. Like, you could have just kept it to one little space, but no. Life forbid that cats learn any manners. Oh, nice. John Lennon and Yoko Ono. He's renowned as a music legend, but John Lennon also had a love for literature and visual art. The Beatle to be studied at the Liverpool College of Art and was encouraged to pursue drawing and painting by his uncle George Smith. Wait, hold on. Go this way. Sensitive and soulful, Lennon's personality made him a natural cat companion. The fabled artist's special affinity for felines began in his youth. He would ride his bicycle to a Woolton fishmonger every day to lavish his pets with hockey. Lennon frequently drew cats, several of which appear in his book of nonsense stories, poetry, and artworks, A Spaniard in the Works. Further kittenly impressions can be found in the picture book filled with drawings he made for his son Sean called Real Love, The Drawings for Sean. When Lennon met his second wife, avant-garde performance artist Yoko Ono, the couple collaborated on a number of works. Most famously, their series of experimental protests, the Bed-In Performances. They also shared a fondness for cats. Some of the kitties that stole Lennon's heart include Tick, Tim, a former stray found in the snow, Sam, Mimi, named after his aunt, Bagabi, and Jesus. The name was a tongue-in-cheek response to the media frenzy ignited by Lennon's controversial comment that the Beatles were, quote-unquote, more popular than Jesus. Major and Minor, and Elvis, his very first cat, later discovered to be female. The Lennon and Ono menagerie included Sasha and Mika, 2 beautiful Persian cats. Alice. Sadly, she jumped out of an open window in Lennon and Ono's high-rise apartment at the Dakota in New York City. Whoa! Wow! That took a weird turn there, huh? And Charo, you've got a funny face, Charo, Lennon liked to say to her. 2 absurdly named cats, a white kitty called Pepper and a black cat named Salt, were proof of the artist's mischievous penchant for defying convention. What else do we have here? Louis Wayne, Victorian-era illustrator of cats. Louis Wayne is known for his anthropomorphic and later kaleidoscopic, shockingly psychedelic felines. The artist's whimsical cat portraits were conceived as a project to comfort his dying wife, Emily Richardson, who adored the family kitty, Peter. To him, properly belongs the foundation of my career, the development of my initial efforts, and the establishing of my work, he once said of the cherished pet. Wayne's artworks became increasingly bizarre as his mental health declined, caused, many speculate, by the onset of schizophrenia, triggered by toxoplasmosis, eventually leading to his institutionalization. Prancing and delighting in cartoonish antics, the light-hearted cats of the artist's earlier work became beastly and almost unrecognizable as he approached the twilight of his career. Nonetheless, Wayne's affections for felines forged a legacy which is still tangible today. As a former chairman and the co-founder of the UK's National Cat Club, for which he designed the logo, Wayne is widely credited for establishing the public's love for cats as household pets. You can see him there with a kitty cat. Because of course. Alright, we're nearing the end of this book. Margaret Bourke-White. Pioneering documentary photographer Margaret Bourke-White became the first female war correspondent and one of the first staff photojournalists for Life. Her image of the Fort Peck Dam in Montana graced the first cover of the magazine in 1936. Like many trailblazing individuals, she was an evident cat fancier, frequently photographed fawning over her pets throughout the years. Ah! Little kitty cat. Meow. That is such a nice picture. I love that picture. Dude, it's as if the cat knew how to pose. A little pose there. Maya Lin. Hold on. Quick nicotine jump. I appreciate you being here. Like I said before, if you're just lurking, jumping into the stream now. Right now we're obviously just showing some picture books today, hanging out. Right now we're watching artists and their cats, and it's different sculptors, artists, photojournalists. We have musicians, a little bit of everything, and they're all photographed with their kitty cats, which is awesome because I love cats. So it's right down my alley. Get it? Right down my alley. That was horrible. But again, I do appreciate you being here. Your time is very valuable, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Be here, chill with me, watch this live stream. I hope you're enjoying it. Like, who doesn't enjoy cats? I guess people that don't like cats, but a lot of us do, so we're a pretty strong community. Okay, so Michael Kataski, a photograph, landscape artist, and prominent architect, Maya Lin, most famous for her unconventional and solemn design for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., while she shared a quiet moment with her cat in her New York City studio. Lynn grew up in southeastern Ohio and felt bonded to animals at a young age. She spent countless hours alone, feeding the tiny backyard beasts that visited her daily. I wanted to be an animal behaviorist. I wanted to be a vet. I wanted everything to do with non-human species. And even to this day, I've been very interested in science. The other side of me was art. She once related in an interview with PBS. Lynn's 2012 project, What Is Missing, is an interactive website featuring audio recordings, photos, and texts that act as a memorial for lost and endangered species. Oh wow, we're going to check that website out. What Is Missing? By Maya Lin. Okay, we're going to check that out. Look how cool that picture is. They did a great job. I also love that the pictures are all black and white. So it gives, I don't know, it gives it like, kind of like a sense of antiquity to it. I love it. It looks awesome. Again, black is my favorite color, or if you lack of color, if you want to be a dick about it. When things are like monochrome, or they're just like black, like completely like black and white and whatnot, and you're playing with like the gray colors of it, I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic way of photographing, and the end results have just so much emotion to it. Sometimes it has a lot more emotion than if the picture would have had like color to it, at least in my own personal opinion. Also, there's a bunch of movies that are like in black and white. If you can, check out the noir version of Logan. I personally think that it elevates that movie to another point, because it's really good in and of itself, but seeing it in black and white like that is, wow, it's just so awesome, to be quite honest with you. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, check it out. It's the noir version of Logan. And also check out Sin City too. That's a pretty old movie. It's not the best, but it's a movie that's black and white. I think it's only like the color red that you can see, but extremely interesting. And also it kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, black and white, and that like, being like that monochrome, and playing with shadows and light. That's, oh wow, I love it so much. It's so phenomenal. So we have man himself, Mr. Pablo Picasso, holding up his little kitty right there. So praised for his deftly painted scenes of brutality and passion, words that could also describe his personal life and relationships. Picasso's tenderness was elicited by the animal kingdom. Cats were as much of a part of the 20th century master's artistic oeuvre as the woman he obsessively rendered, appearing in paintings and drawings throughout his extraordinary career. Living in the Les Bateaux-Lavoie commune in the Montmartre district of Paris between 1904 and 1909, where he created one of his most famous works, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, the young painter befriended a Siamese cat he found roaming the streets and named it Manu, French for kitty. Later, in his 70s, Picasso was photographed with a tabby cat to match his striped shirt by Fauvist painter Carlos Nadal at the Maestro's house in Valoris, France in 1954. Nadal observed that the cat never left Picasso's lap. Yeah. And why would it? Nice, Patti Smith. Let's check out this picture of Patti Smith. So awesome. So it says, Patti Smith's involvement in the New York art scene during the 1960s and 70s is the stuff of legend. She left her studies at a teaching college in New Jersey and a factory job in Philadelphia behind, entering the city with only a few art supplies and mere dollars in her pocket. A chance meeting with then unknown photographer Robert Mapplethorpe started an incredible chapter in her life. The lovers and eternal soulmates struggled and sacrificed so they could create their art. During this period, they were preoccupied with drawing. Later in their relationship, they came into contact with a whole new world of artists, provocateurs, and fellow misfits when they moved into room 1017 at the Chelsea Hotel. Oh boy. Smith traded her portfolio as collateral for rent and found herself among the likes of underground icons Janis Joplin, Harry Everett Smith, William S. Burroughs, Allen Ginsberg, and Gregory Corso. The godmother of punk continues to blur genres and art forms with her drawings, photographs, prose, and music. In 2010, Smith received an honorary doctorate in fine arts from the Pratt Institute, the campus she frequented after her New York pilgrimage, where Robert and other friends went to school. Many cats have acted as Smith's guardians during her rise to fame, and the artist's meowing muses have appeared in several of her pictures. Any number of interviews with the artist-performer mentions at least one feline friend in passing. Fine art photographer Franz Stefanko, famous for his portraits of rock royalty, such as Bruce Springsteen, Janis Joplin, and Frank Zappa, captured Smith's emergence into the music world, including a 1974 photo of the singer with a daydreaming black cat. In the 2008 documentary Patti Smith, Dream of a Life, Patti shares a sweet moment with her marmalade-colored cat by serenading the nuzzling feline with a tender version of Fabrizio de Andrés' Amore che vieni, amore che vai. Love it. Paul Klee and Lily Stump. A prolific figure in European modernism, Paul Klee's radical ideas were tempered by a witty and playful spontaneity. This is perhaps most evident in his many cat-centric artworks, such as the 1928 oil and ink painting Cat and Bird. The colorful feline is rendered in extreme close-up and gazes hungrily at us while a bird appears as a wishful vision inside its head. Several of Klee's works reference the pets in his life, and he loved to photograph them. His white, long-haired cat named Bimbo, pictured here with Klee's wife, pianist Lily Stump, was a loyal companion and makes several appearances in Klee's oeuvre. Other Klee kitties include a dark long-hair named Mice, Tabby Fritzy, and the long-haired kitten called Noogie. Huh, very interesting. Look at this picture. Look at that big old kitty cat. Philip Burne-Jones. Love this picture. Look at it. Wow, so serious. Look at that serious cat. Take a little moment there to appreciate, first of all, how old this picture looks. Does it say the year? Let's see. It says early 1900s. And it goes, like I said, they mentioned 1897, but they're not really saying anything about what year this was painted. Be cool. I'm gonna find that out and figure it out, because that seems pretty interesting. So, Philip Burne-Jones was the son of two artists, Sir Edward Burne-Jones, a British pre-Raphaelite painter, and Georgiana MacDonald. Although often compared to his famous father, he later became a successful painter in his own right. The younger Burne-Jones exhibited at the Royal Academy over the span of 20 years, and was also featured in the Paris Salon of 1900. A painting of his father, shown there, now hangs in the National Portrait Gallery. He's best remembered for his portraits. Henry James, George Frederick Watts, and Rudyard and Carrie Kipling were a few of his notable sitters, and the 1897 painting The Vampire. The undead woman in the controversial artwork resembled actress Miss Patrick Campbell, a former love interest who reportedly dumped him. Morbid revenge paintings aside, the artist still had room in his heart for at least one beautiful cat, as seen here. Early drawings by the elder Burne-Jones depict Philip and the family feline, so Philip's cat love wasn't a complete anomaly. The artist also penned a book containing observations about his year-long travels around the United States. He created the illustrations, which, sure enough, included a cat dashing along a New York City sidewalk. When describing the frightful hurry and restless bustle everywhere, he wrote, "The very cats appear distracted and preoccupied, and as though they were late for an appointment. Whoever would stop to say psst, psst to an American cat?" Robert Indiana and Andy Warhol. So we have Mr. Warhol twice. One of the pop art movement's most eminent participants, Robert Indiana, shied away from the parties at Andy Warhol's factory, distinguishing himself among the elite clique of personalities. Born Robert Clark in Newcastle, Indiana, as his adopted surname suggests, the artist was sent to live on a family farm when he was a young boy. He spent a lot of time alone, but befriended several animals, including the resident farm cats. After arriving in New York City during the 1950s, he continued to keep cats as pets. Serendipitously, he met fellow cat lover Andy Warhol at St. Adrian's Bar in the old Broadway Central Hotel several years later. Indiana became the star of Warhol's 1963 film Eat, which featured the artist slowly eating a mushroom in his Soho loft for nearly an hour, edited out of sequence. Clearly seeking a co-star billing, Indiana's curious cat enters the scene, settles against his owner's frame, and gazes knowingly at the camera, bringing a huge grin to the artist's face. Hey. See the two kitty cats right there. Romari Bearden. Pioneering African-American artist, master collagist, and cat lover, Romari Bearden was crazy about his kitty, Gibbo. The striped feline was quite the looker and never missed a photo op with his owner, who was also famed as a cartoonist and protege of German artist George Gross. Gibbo is, I think, a very handsome cat. He's perfectly symmetrically striped with gray and tan markings, Bearden gushed in a 1968 interview. We found him in the woods, and he was a little wildcat in him. And he has a little wildcat in him, and it took a long time, about 6 or 8 months, when he was a young kitten, to get him trained. But now he's happy. The studio he feels is his. You work for him, bud. What are you even talking about? Salvador Dali. Never content to play by the rules or follow proper behavior as we peons might, eccentric surrealist painter Salvador Dali kept a Colombian ocelot as a pet. Although overly resembling a domestic cat, the species is extremely territorial and known to be a fierce fighter. Dali's treasured ocelot, nicknamed Babo, was treated to the finest life had to offer, including luxury cruises on the SS France, bejeweled collars, trips to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and fine dining. Legend has it that Babo accompanied Dali to a Manhattan restaurant where the grand cat sat tethered to his table. The exotic feline's presence alarmed a fellow diner, but the outrageous artist reassured her that Babo was a regular cat, painted to imitate its wilder relation. Dali held court at the elegant St. Regis Hotel when he stayed in New York City, where Babo would join him for meetings and autograph signings in the lobby. The spotted cat's favorite place to sleep was an empty television set, but at the Dali home in Spain, he preferred napping in olive trees. That is, of course, when he wasn't making friends with the local alley cats or tearing his master's socks apart. Apparently his favorite pastime. I can definitely see that happening. Surprised, well, interesting that they didn't add Freddie Mercury into this. I know, but he did paintings at one point. I mean, albeit he wasn't known for that, but I feel like he should have been added to this list in this book because it would have made a pretty great addition. So Paul Steinberg, renowned for his cartoons and artworks that frequently graced the New Yorker, including almost 90 covers, Romanian-born American artist Saul Steinberg created hundreds of whimsical, elaborate line drawings of cats. During his illustrious career, Steinberg had an opportunity to pose with a curious kitten for friend and collaborator Henri Cartier-Bresson. Steinberg famously once authorized Cartier-Bresson to be a photographer in a falsified, humorous document. Oh, those wacky artists. But the cat in Steinberg's snapshot clearly needed no permission to investigate the photo shoot. What's going on here? What are you doing? I want to participate. Dude, my cat gets FOMO all the time. If he's not the center of attention, he needs to be made the center of attention one way or another. Okay, so we have Suzanne Valadon, Maurice Utrillo, and André Uter. Uter. Any cat lucky enough to call 19th century French artist Suzanne Valadon a friend was in for an adventure. The first female painter granted acceptance to the Société Nationale des Beaux-Arts, which is the National Society of a National Society of Arts, of Beauty and Arts. Valadon began her career as a circus acrobat. She became a respected art model, posing for well-known painters such as Toulouse-Lautrec, Renoir, and Pierre-Cécile Puvis de Chavannes. and later married her own sitter, painter Andre Uter. With encouragement from friends, including Edgar Degas, Valadon began her own foray into the art world. She was known for her female nudes, a subject most women artists eschewed during the period. Her vibrant still lifes, portraits, and interiors often included cats. Several such companions took up residence in her studio over the years. The free-spirited artist used her finest fashions to create beds for them. Her kitties were lavished with beluga caviar on Fridays and kept company by a German sheepdog and goat, which she fed her bad drawings to. Oh wow. Valadon's story is also proof that cat love runs in the family. The bohemian model turned portraitist instilled a fondness for felines in her son, Maurice Utrillo, at a young age. The painter's affinity for cats was matched only by his fame for the atmospheric cityscapes he depicted, mainly the Montmartre quarter during the early 20th century. And we can obviously see a little kitty cat front and center. Wow, it's like a really old picture. Suguharu Fujita. It says you could do a lot worse in life than to find acclaim for paintings of beautiful women and cats. Suguharu Fujita's print and Japanese-style paintings, which use Western oil technique, a unique practice among early 20th century painters, were never short on aesthetic appeal. Positioned at the center of Montparnasse's vibrant cultural circle, the Japanese painter drew the attention of leading artists such as Juan Gris, Pablo Picasso, and Henri Matisse. The eccentric painter was an inimitable figure, styling his hair after an Egyptian statue, dressing in tunics, sporting a wristwatch tattoo, and sometimes even wearing a lampshade as a hat. However, the graceful serpentine lines of Fujita's feline artworks are arguably just as eye-catching. Dude, look how cool that picture is. And it's blurred out. It's the actual picture's blurred out a little bit. It's not your screen. It's the actual picture. Verushka. With a reputation as the first supermodel, a pioneering body painting artist, she once collaborated with Salvador Dali, and a Hollywood darling, Verushka embodied slinky 60s sensuality. A 5-minute cameo in Michelangelo Antonioni's 1966 film Blow Up helped cement her celebrity status. But the German-born countess became a pop culture icon during her tenure with Vogue. Her striking name and lithe, feline frame often found her posing in exotic locales, sometimes with exotic animals, as in the case of her now famous 1967 William Klein photo shoot for Vogue, co-starring a cheetah. After retiring from modeling in 1975, Verushka began collaborating with artist Holger Trulch for a conceptual series of photographic self-portraits that transform her camouflaged, painted body. Verushka is a known cat lover and has tended to dozens of feral felines in cities across the world. Look how awesome that picture is. Dude, that picture screams groovy. Wanda Gog. Wanda Gog's pioneering folk art style storybook, Millions of Cats, became a children's classic, notably for being the first book to feature double-page illustrations. The 1928 Newbery Honor winner centers on an elderly couple who choose one kitty to love after hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions of cats, and billions and trillions of cats wind up at their door. Gog spent many hours in the comfort of kittens after leaving a successful commercial art career in New York's Greenwich, surrounded by famous friends such as Georgia O'Keeffe. for the solitude of farmhouse art studios in Connecticut and rural New Jersey. That cat is not having that. It's not having it, that picture. It's like, lady, get me out of here. Let's see how many we have left. Oh, nice. Okay. So the last one on the list is none other than William S. Burroughs. The misanthropic demeanor and notorious repute of William S. Burroughs seems to have been quelled when confronted with cats. The painter and literary giant viewed them as his psychic companions. Burroughs' feline epiphany occurred when he moved to Lawrence, Kansas during the 1980s and settled into a lakefront bungalow. While there, he adopted several strays. Rusky, a handsome Russian blue, was his first. Sweet Ginger was the mother of the orange litter, which included Calico Jane, named after author Jane Bowles. Burroughs had a soft spot for Black Kitty Fletch, but the cat despised strangers. When Fletch started packing on the pounds, the author compared him to Orson Welles. Dotting a kitty Spooner followed Burroughs everywhere, and Senshu, a gray tabby girl, and her mother, Mutie, remained companions for life. Horatio, troublemaker Ed, Wimpy, and countless others were also comrades in arms. I've learned immeasurably. I've learned compassion. I've learned all sorts of things from my cats, because cats reflect you. They really do. Burroughs shared in one of his last interviews. Other confessions of feline vulnerability abound in Burroughs' autobiographical novella, The Cat Inside. Just a few days before his death in 1997, Burroughs recorded his final journal entry, which expressed his profound love for his dear cats. There was no final enough of wisdom experience. Any fucking thing. No holy grail. No final satori. No final solution. Just conflict. Only thing can resolve conflict is love. Like I felt for Fletch and Rusky, Spooner and Calico. Pure love. What I feel for my cats, present and past. Love? What is it? Most natural painkiller what there is. Love. That's literally, I'm reading it just as he wrote. Oh wait, I didn't even show it well. Silly me. Foolish me. I should have showed it to you guys a little better. Cool. So yeah, this was Artists and Their Cats. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a little long. We read through all of them. But that way we kind of get a notion of what we were looking at, who the artist is, what they're known for, and why they love cats so much. That's always great information to have. Cool. Let's see. Okay, just going through these real quick. Let's see, maybe we can do... so that we can appreciate their pictures. Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do a bit of editing. We don't have to go through all of his... Sorry, I'm just checking out what to do next. Let's see. Cool. You know what? We'll do
we'll do a little bit of Gustav Klimt. I was gonna do Érte, but I don't know. It seems more like fashion. Here, like I'll show you real quick. I might have to zoom out more so that you guys can see it a little better, but I'll just show you a little bit. So this is Érte. He's an Art Deco master of graphic art and illustration. It's kind of what he is most known for. I'm gonna have to kind of zoom out so you guys can see the whole thing. Luckily it's illustrations, so you'll be able to enjoy it a lot more. Hopefully that should be good. Let me know in chat if that's good enough for you guys. If not, I can zoom in or zoom out a little more. So this is kind of what it is known for. You'll see it bigger. A lot of fashion trends have been inspired by this artist. So as you can see, so just so we know who it is, so we know who we're kind of talking about here. You know what? Let's go in a little bit more because a lot of it is illustrations, but I'm just gonna read this paragraph. So, Érte, Prince of the Music Hall, mirror of fashion and master of Art Deco, died on April 21st, 1990. A pivotal figure in the history of design and illustration, a leading proponent of the Art Deco aesthetic, who left us a legacy of work that continues to inspire and intrigue new and erstwhile collectors and fashion designers. As recently as December 2013, Harper's Bazaar produced a celebratory edition with Érte cover of 20 years earlier, as fresh today as it was then, and inside, a mention that Gucci sent a phalanx of top models down its gleaming mirrored catwalk wearing dresses with patterns inspired by Érte. Let's see. At the height of his fame, when he was represented in hundreds of galleries throughout America, had new fashion products being manufactured in Japan, and was on the cusp of agreeing a perfume and cosmetics contract, he decided to take a holiday in Mauritius. I called to see if he. I'm guessing it's the person that wrote the book. I called to see if he had arrived safely, and he said yes, but felt unwell. He had contracted septicemia and was in a coma by the time I reached him with a hospital plane and a medical team. Fortunately, the neighboring island of Hangout had dialysis equipment and were able to treat him. Once he was sufficiently recovered, I took him to the hospital Cotin in Paris, where he continued to improve. So much so that, during the next weeks, he insisted on working on what were to be the final limited editions of his prints. David Rogath made several visits with me to finalize the details of what Érte said would be the most extravagant and amongst the best to portray his designs. Sadly, Érte's recovery could not be sustained, and he died after a short stay in the urological wing of the hospital prior to his intended homecoming. His life ended, but his creations live on and continue to influence the designers of today. A wealth of his original works are held in museum collections by artists and collectors, as well as by thousands of buyers of his limited editions, jewelry, and artworks. Interesting. Okay, so as you can see, this is one of his illustrations right here. I'll move this over to the side so you guys can kind of like evenly, albeit a little bit zoomed in, but you can kind of get an idea of what his illustrations are all about. So in 1975, at the age of 83, the acclaimed Russian-born designer Romain de Tirtov, 1892 to 1990, widely known as Érte, published his autobiography. He began Érte, Things I Remember, with the story of his departure from St. Petersburg, Russia in January 1912 at the age of 19. It was a momentous occasion for him. He was bound for Paris, and what he hoped would be his future as an artist. At the station, many members of his family had congregated to wish him well. His father and mother, his sister, his aunt, and his cousins.
From Érte's telling of the event, it is clear that he had the support of his close family, albeit not in the naval career they had originally planned for him. Who could have guessed that he would be later feted worldwide as the father of Art Deco? Érte is treasured as an icon of Art Deco, but much of his work was transitional, evoking fin de siècle Art Nouveau. Despite the fact, and Art Nouveau is what, for example, Afonso Muka is known for. Actually, no, that episode is available on the live section on my YouTube, so if you want to check that out, feel free to. The whole episode is there. It's like one of the earlier episodes I did last year. We went through a whole picture book, art picture book, about all of Afonso Muka's, I guess his story and his artworks and whatnot. Pretty interesting, and being that he is one of my favorite artists of all time, I deeply enjoyed that episode. It was so interesting. Oh, sorry, I'm just stretching real quick. I turned the heater on too because it's getting cold in here again. I don't know if spring decided to take a vacation this year. I don't know if it's obviously it's climate change, but I don't know what's going on. But it's still very cold. Like, I'm so done with this weather and it being cold all the time. Like, I would like some heat in my life, please. That would feel magical right now. It's like spring. Start springing, my dude, because can't do it. Okay, so let's see. Despite the fact that he said little influenced him other than medieval miniatures of India and Persia, one can see in his fashion illustrations, stage and film sets, and costumes inspiration from many sources, such as European Orientalist art, Byzantine mosaics, Greek vases, Egyptian motifs, and more. Moving to Europe would be the first key trigger of much of what was to influence his work. And obviously, as you can see here, one of his illustrations. Clearly, you can tell the Egyptian influence here. Here's another example. Sorry. So yeah, Érte is often considered an artist of the Art Deco period, but his art is of a transitional style between Art Nouveau and Art Deco. His late 20th century revival pieces, created from the 1970s onwards, were taken from figure illustrations he made in the 1920s and 30s, and embody the essence of Art Nouveau, a reminder of the passion amongst late 19th, early 20th century aesthetes for symbolist visual rhetoric, and the eroticism and other worlds of Orientalism. Jesus Christ. In many ways, Art Nouveau and Art Deco are defined by Érte's work. Whoa! Holy shit! Wow, bro! I'm actually gonna move it so that we can fully appreciate it. Look how beautiful that is. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen trying to adjust it so that you guys get... Bro. Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm guessing that's like Cleopatra, or maybe Nefertiti? Nefertiti? Wow. Look, these are actual earrings that he created. I'm not a fashion kind of guy, but we can all truly appreciate an artist's work. Like, this is incredible. And the details on it, so this is actually gold, silver, blue sapphires. Yeah, no, this one is, sorry, gold, silver, blue sapphires, gold, silver, emeralds. Bro. But just, I mean, that's beautiful. Wow. Very chic in his designs, if you can tell. Nice. Wow. I wonder if this is, if it's the actual painting is like this with this red behind it, or if this was just something added to. Because that looks pretty fucking wonderful. And then obviously you could tell, again, the different inspirations that the artist used for his illustration. So you can tell that this is, you know, kind of like, has like an oriental / Egyptian feel to it. Kind of combining them both, which is pretty interesting. You can't really see like the background here, but there's like an image in the background too. Rose gown. It's a serigraph with foil stamping. Same here. This is an embossed serigraph with foil stamping. Very beautiful. You know, I can tell, like, especially in this image here to the right, you can kind of see the influences of Alphonse Mucha and Art Nouveau with the you could tell with the spaghetti hair. That's one of the things. Like the trees, it's just lines and whatnot. It looks sort of kind of like basic and simple, but all in all, it's really beautiful. But you can obviously tell it's not necessarily like 100% Art Nouveau, but you can tell that the influence is real, and obviously that transition that Érte had between like Art Nouveau and taking it to Art Deco, it's you can see where it comes from. There's a pattern that you can follow, and it's one obvious thing leads to the other. So like Art Nouveau then led to Art Deco. So this is a serigraph. It's based on Érte's painting for the November 1921 Harper's Bazaar cover. Wow. So this was the cover of the actual magazine. This one right here. Wow. So this is called Autumn Song. It's a necklace pendant. It was created between 1979 and 1990. It's gold, silver, diamonds, amethysts, and mother of pearl. I don't even know what the hell mother of pearl is. That sounds pretty awesome. Holy schnips. Dude. It was at this fortune that George White visited Paris in 1922 and saw Le Rêve de la Femme at the Théâtre des Ambassadeurs. It included Les Mers, the seas, which White bought to take to New York. Which is what is this what we're seeing here? Yep, Les Mers. The seas. Triple costume design for the ocean, Les Mers. George White's Scandals, New York, 1923. Wow, this is 100 years old. Has a very kind of reminds me of the villain of Final Fantasy VIII. Like, but this top part here, And kind of like, if you were to cover this portion and you were to just like look at this part here, it looks a lot like that female villain from Final Fantasy VIII. I forgot her name. Cool. This is a bronze sculpture. That's insane. Wow, it's beautiful. Whoa! Cannoli. You can tell a lot of this one, like that transition I was talking about previously from Art Nouveau to Art Deco. Definitely, you can see it. So it's not necessarily spaghetti hair like Alphonse Mucha would do, but you can tell that there's it's still kind of in the same line as it, but now it's a lot thicker. Might not mean much in like during that period, but seeing it now and being able to see like the change from one to another, you can definitely tell that there was a transition from one art style to the next. I'm thinking this is bronze. It's good. We'll probably have it confirmed in the next one here. So previous, right? Fire Dancer sculpture. Yep, created in 1989, and it's bronze. Mind you, these were created in the 80s. If you were like seeing it, you would think that they were created like in the early 1900s. Costume design for the Lilith Fairy in The Sleeping Beauty. This one looks like how they used to dress back in the day, but the person just didn't have any pants on. Interesting. This was the winter fashions number for the Harper's Bazaar. Yet, yeah, it's for winter, but that looks more like summer. If you were to ask me. Interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to see if it has any information about. I don't know. Think about this specific one. This cover for Harper's Bazaar. For the Harper's Bazaar winter fashions number. It's really beautiful. Yeah, I like the. I don't know if you can notice here, but it has like little hands. They're all trying to reach the. Wow, beautiful. Very simple, nothing over the top. It isn't anything that. It's not overwhelming. It's just it has a beautiful simplicity to it. That looks like something someone would wear like to an award show or something like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if fashion designers would have copied something like that to make into an actual dress that someone would wear. So let's see. Inspired by Art Nouveau. So from the outset of his career in fashion, Arte's costume designs were always accessorized, often with pieces of jewelry. Limited edition jewelry would later become a lucrative addition to his commercial sales of prints and sculptures. What inspired his style? What was influencing jewelry design in Érte's early years? Parisian jeweler Georges Fouquet, he was born in 1862, died in 1957, filled his Paris shop with decorative Art Nouveau jewelry. For his display at the 1900 Exposition Universelle, he commissioned Alphonse Mucha, the Czech émigré artist living in Paris, to design jewelry pieces that were similar to creations originally invented by the artist in posters advertising the plays of the French actress Sarah Bernhardt. The Mucha jewelry sold with great success. I mean, how would it not? How would it not sell in great
in great quantities. It's Alfonso Mucha, dude. It's like there's so many things that are inspired by this artist in our day-to-day lives, ranging from album artworks to fonts to shit. I've even seen it in like magazine spreads and whatnot, and how they take. I'll give you a clear example. Off the top of my head, Florence and the Machine has a album artwork that was inspired by Alfonso Mucha. I forgot the name of the album, but it's the one that it's like it's the colored one. Obviously, but it's like a drawing. Vanessa Carlton's first album is also inspired by Alfonso Mucha. Let me see what other one off the top of my head. They've done redemptions of Art Nouveau for, I mean, like you name it, they have kind of an example of it. There's one of Björk that's so awesome, that's of all of her albums. Sorry, I moved the table where the camera's on, so I apologize for it moving like that. Sorry, I mentioned, dang it, I mentioned this crap, it threw me off with what I was talking about. Yeah, so there's one for Star Wars that's extremely interesting. It's so cool. There's one for Game of Thrones. There's one for Björk. There's one for there's different ones. You can Google it. You just write Art Nouveau, and you can write Star Wars or Game of Thrones, Björk, whatever the case may be. And there might be I think I saw one once for like hip hop artists. It's so awesome, and it's worth checking out if you're interested. So let's see. The exposition also showcased the work of the St. Petersburg jewelry designer to the nobility, Karl Faberge, 1846 to 1926, who displayed his fabulously jeweled Easter eggs. When one looks for influences on Érte for his creative designs, the 1900 exposition was sure to have provided many that were to have a profound effect on him for the rest of his life. It must have been a thrilling starting point for the young artist. One needs only to look at the sinuous lines of some of Érte's designs to see the legacy of Art Nouveau. See, and the examples that they use. One of the first ones that we saw, page 24 and 25. There you go. See, 24, 25. One of those. This is the cover for the November 21st edition of Harper Bazaar, and we talked about it. The clear influences that Art Nouveau had on this illustration, and then they mentioned another one. That's going to be a few pages forward, and we'll talk about it when we get there. So it's page 54 and 55. Okay, so looking through Érte's early pen and ink drawings or gouache designs dated to 1913 to 1916, his female models wear their hair short, cropped, or hidden by a turban or hat. One can see Érte making, rather than following, fashion in the later craze for short, cropped bobs or shingle cuts, which emerged strongly after the First World War. Looking more closely and comparing the shape of his model's facial features and short hair, one can perhaps see a Narcissus, reflection of Érte himself. In ancient Greek mythology, Narcissus fell in love with his own image. If one looks at early 20th century photographs of Érte in his formal handmade suits, or flamboyant costumes for a ball or masquerade, he was always immaculately groomed, elegant in his form of dress, and not afraid to wear couturier costumes designed for women. His facial features were handsome, groomed, with soft dark eyes, an aquiline nose, a small rosebud mouth, and hair styled short and slicked. A 20th century refined dandy. Comparing his features to his models, one can see in his features a reflection of the ideal he portrayed in his drawings and gouaches. An elegant, slim body shape with short cropped hair,
He was the inspiration for the recognizable Érte look. Whoa. Oh wow, okay, so this one is called the Golden Fleece here. This is La Courbette. These are bracelets. Wow. Inspired by Greek mythology? Does it mention it anywhere here? Let me see, at the Académie Julian, Érte studied in a class taught by the French painter Jean-Paul Laurent. Whoa. 1838 to 1921. A noted artist of historical paintings in the classical academic tradition. However, perhaps due to his earlier dislike of attending school as a teenager, Érte preferred to work on his own rather than in a group of fellow artists. He did not want others to watch him at work, a habit that was formed in his childhood, closing his book or paint box if anyone stopped to study his drawings or paintings. He left the Académie after a 3-month study period. Money was in short supply. It was a problem Érte suffered even through his most productive periods in the 1920s to 1940s, when he was earning vast amounts, as his lifestyle at times overtook his income. Hey, thank you so much for that lyric, Lethal. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day, and thank you so much for being here. Nice, dude. Wow. He moved on from Art Nouveau to Cubism. Pablo Picasso is most known for Cubism. Call him the father of Cubism. Érte stated that he appreciated representational art, but had always been attracted to the abstract. I have never been able to understand the artist who reproduces faithfully what he sees, rather than the impression that a real object has made on his mind. That's a pretty good. That's something pretty good to bring up, and it's the fact that, well, yeah, it's very much appreciated when artists recreate what they're seeing, but it is true. I think one of the things that separated Salvador Dali the most out of a lot of other artists, which also, Pablo Picasso falls into that, and falls in that same circle as well, and it's that they broke free from that traditionalist style of painting and depicting reality. To them, their own reality was these weird creations that went hand in hand. Sorry, I did it again. I'm pretty. My knee's pretty close to the table. I need to move back a little bit, which is what I'm doing now. But I think me personally, that's what I find more interesting is when artists break free from reality, and what they show us is something completely different that, when analyzed, goes hand in hand with an actual topic, situation, or subject that is happening in the real world. Case in point, Salvador Dali, for example, in many of his paintings, because he was such a surrealist, let's just call him that, he would create these paintings that were so lavish and so otherworldly, but when you would pick them apart, everything had a meaning to it. So the bended clock, for example, has a meaning behind it. It wasn't just put there because it looked nice. For example, the huge horse that's in one of his paintings is actually one of the ones I have in my living room. Well, it's a print, obviously, but has a meaning as well. Represents, what was it that he said in that book, that art picture book that we went through? I remember him describing that specific elephant like the elite in society, thinking that like being above everyone else, but it's represented like the elephant or that elephant type of animal has these really, really long legs, but at the end of the day, it's still a beast. Very interesting. And me personally, I enjoy art that breaks from the norm. While I can appreciate normality, I think maybe sometimes normal can just tend to be a little bit too boring. But maybe that's just me. That's just my own personal opinion. We'll move on and we'll continue. Okay, wait, hold on. It says, to his art teacher who told him to paint what he saw, he responded, "Why should I paint something that already exists?" This argument may explain why Érte's illustrations were of idealized people rather than reality, which we appreciate. Wow. This one you can okay. This is probably one of the ones here on the right hand side that is most Art Nouveau up until this point, that it will be hard to make a distinction between one and like Art Nouveau and Art Deco. In my own personal opinion, I don't think that he's here yet. Like he's transitioned into Art Deco yet, because this specifically still has too much Art Nouveau on it. This one's called The Wave. This one's called Aphrodite. This is a necklace. Gold, silver, diamonds, black onyx, and oh wow, this is black onyx. This is supposed to be black onyx. I think the person lied to me though. But yeah, so it's kind of supposed to be the same, but this has black onyx on it. I love it. That's one of my favorite stones. Let me see. Illustration or design. The history of Érte's studies to be an artist and his subsequent choice of illustration over fine art show him to be more suited to the craft of graphic design. But what of a possible career as a fashion designer? His autobiography tells of his first forays into fashion design at the age of 5, designing a dress for his mother from his own imagination. Wow. From an early age, Érte would spend hour upon hour drawing with intensity to create the perfect work. Looking through his pen and ink sketches of original fashion designs for his first major employer, the French high fashion couturier Paul Poiret, Érte had a great flair for design that was fashionable, stylish, and wearable. The closing of Poiret's salon in 1914 at the outbreak of the First World War stopped Érte's fledgling career in its tracks. From here, he moved on to fashion illustration for Harper's Bazaar, creating chic aspirational designs that were not intended to be realized for wear. During the war period, Érte concentrated on costumes for theatrical reviews. He continued to submit fashion drawings and gouache fashion illustrations to Harper's Bazaar and to American Vogue, but theatrical costume design took him further away from haute couture and into a different sphere of fashion. Today, one notices the showiness of his theatrical costumes, but had the war in Europe not intervened, Érte may have been noted as a fashion designer rather than an illustrator. Wait, what? I wonder if Björk took her inspiration for the swan dress from here. I mean, it does look a lot like it, and it coincidentally has mind you, it's a white pigeon, a white dove, but I mean, it's still there. It's not a swan, but this kind of looks like the. I've seen the illustration of when they were originally doing the dress, and dude, it looks a lot like this, albeit not like the actual like design of the person, but like the dress and shit. Like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm gonna look that up. I wonder if that came from this, because it really looks a lot. It looks a lot like the actual dress. And then, mind you, again, these are serigraphs done by hand. It's insane. So it's not so much the actual fashion aspect of it. It's also as well the fact that it's just incredible art. That's creations of art
that are made by this artist. And again, we've seen earrings, we've seen necklaces, pendants. All the illustrations are in serigraphs. I wonder if, it would be cool if they would redo the Harper Bazaars that have these covers. It would be so awesome to see. It'd be okay. Let me finish the sentence. It'd be so awesome to see that. Like, I would personally buy it myself. Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, who knows? This looks like something that could have inspired a whole bunch of video characters that I've seen throughout the years. Second, again, another form of spaghetti hair, but still falls into the same category. At a simple glance, you would think that there would be no difference between Art Nouveau and Art Deco because it looks so similar. And mind you, this is from the 1980s. It's not like this was done back in the day, like 1900s or whatever. Like, there are viewers here that are older than this image. I'm not there yet though, but oh wait, nice. So this is a Harper Bazaar cover from 1921. July 1921. Wait, what's the price? 50 cents. Holy cannoli. I don't think there's anything that you can buy for 50 cents in the States right now. Last time I was in the supermarket, I went to go buy I had just finished doing the whole, I was buying food and whatnot, and I wanted that they sell chocolates right at the, where the cash register is, and I wanted a Reese's that they had there, and dude, that shit was like almost $1. Just like one Reese's peanut butter cup, not the whole thing, like one Reese's peanut butter cup, almost $1. Like, you know what? I'll skip on that. No, bull. I still bought it, but I begrudgingly ate that Reese's. I wasn't happy. I was a little bit happy though, but nice. Okay, we'll do a little bit more. Your boy's already getting hungry. It's that time of day. Not keen on the fashion world, but it's pretty admirable that these eccentric designs could at one point have been made into actual like costumes, or like actual clothing and stuff that people actually wear. Because if you really think about it, like, I mean, I don't know about the birds in here, but maybe my mind is playing tricks on me, but there could be situations where there are movies or TV shows or like music videos that kind of took inspirations from this, because it looks a lot alike. Oh, what's this? Celestial Virtues. See, from working for Poiret, Érte was in touch with all that Paris thought hot and avant-garde, from art to dance. The sensuous tango dance, originating from Buenos Aires, Argentina in the 1890s, crossed the Pacific to France, becoming a high society dance phenomenon by 1913. It is thought that the dance first appeared in a theatrical revue in Paris in 1908. It was officially demonstrated at the Sorbonne in 1910 by the French actress, singer, and comedienne Mistinguett, Jean-Florentin Bourgois, which is born 1875, died 1956. Dancing with Professor B.T. Bottaglio, director of the Academy of Dance and Deportment. Dance and Deportment. Okay, it reached fever pitch by 1913 with tango dinner dances, tango tea dances, tango nights, a summertime tango train to dance from Paris to Deauville, and tango on ice,
at the Palais des Glaces. Érte designed some of the costumes that Poiret produced for Jacques Rechipin's play Le Tango at the Athénée Theatre in 1913. Unbelievable. Believable, obviously, but wow, 1913. That's insane, dude. 2023 and we're here appreciating this person's body of work. It's insane. Huh. Interesting. I think I saw this once at a hotel. Someone they had it as a print on the wall. Interesting. This is a cover of the Harper's Bazaar from 1933. Wow. Not very good times. Not very good times. I can tell you that. I mean, I was probably in my past life during that, but yeah, the history books don't remember those times very fairly. This is cool. This looks like a Cruella de Vil version 2.0. Alright, we'll do this page and we'll do one more. Hopefully the next one has nice. Oh yeah, we'll end it with the next one because it has an extremely awesome illustration to it. Okay, post paragraph. It is recorded that Érte flipped a coin to choose between Harper's Bazaar, initially spelled Bazar, B-A-Z-A-R, until the extra A was added in November 1929. Owned by William Randolph Hearst, and Vogue, owned by Condé Montrose Nast. He was born 1873, died 1972. The coin chose the former. Érte recalled that on his 22nd birthday, on November 23rd, 1914, he received a check from Harper's Bazaar, enclosed with a letter requesting a set of drawings on a monthly basis. Wow. So, yeah. It was really in there. Alright, we'll leave this Érte art picture book on page 70, 71, and we'll leave it with this one. Holy cannoli. That's awesome. Like, I'm even going to move it a little bit this way so that we can fully appreciate it. I'll let it. Wow. And if you can tell, it's actually people. The whole costume is. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Cool. Dude, this was awesome. I keep moving this table and the camera's still moving. That's not me moving it. That was the camera that I hit the table of the camera and it moved a lot. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's Lethal TV. I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much. Anyone else that was lurking, I appreciate you being here. I will be live later on tonight, 7 p.m. for True Crime and Murder Mystery Wednesday. So we'll get together then as well. You can always join the Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. We watch movies, album listens, a little bit of everything. Try to keep it as entertaining as possible. I'll replay this episode there in a few minutes once we're done. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm all across social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you're on TikTok, follow me there. I'm trying to grow a community. Support me over on Patreon, $2 a month. Join that community. It's slow right now, but it will grow. I'm certain of it. If you see my posts, if you see anything of mine, go ahead and share it out. Again, I'm trying to grow as much as possible and have this community of the King Angel Show grow even more. Just remember, I'm King Angel, a Bay Area live streamer and content creator, focusing on review videos, review live streams as well of movie trailers, music videos. We do everything: education, mythology, history, art picture books like today, anything to keep us entertained, learning, discussing, and just basically reacting to things together. I think I'm hungry.
I think it's a hunger in me that's having me stutter on my words. About to get myself a hearty plate of rice, beans, and some meat, because the Dominican in me is needing that. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Join that Discord. Like I said, support me over on Patreon. Have a very wonderful day. See you later tonight. Peace. This is the King Angel Show.